Okay, good morning. So, in last lecture, we have seen about the meristematic tissue. So, in the today's lecture, we are observing our second part, vascular tissue. So, it includes components of vascular tissue are the xylem and the phloem, then types of vascular bundles and their functions of vascular tissue. So myself as Chavan sir, as we are completing now our syllabus after taking these 2 3 parts. Right. So in the meristematic tissue already we have seen these cells are the living cells. Then what is the character for the vascular tissue? So it is a complex conducting tissue which is formed of more than one cell type found in the vascular tissue, and the primary components of vascular tissues are the xylem and the phloem. So as you are observing, this is a good photograph of stem or the leaf. So it shows the vascular bundles. These are seen on the at the marginal region. Then in relation to this, as there are the two types of vascular tissues as the xylem and the phloem. So in the LS, while we are observing any stem is there, you see the left diagram, xylem vessels are there. So how the water gets conducted from cell to cell, and how are there are the thick walls are there. So there is having the one way transport is there. So water and the minerals, they are transported from root tip to the shoot tip, and these water and minerals, as generally there are the end walls are generally not seen in the some cells are there, and thick walls they are to be showing the specifically. Then there is the water and the food, it is storage, it is the character of the phloem region, and therefore we are observing there is a two-way flow is there, upward and the downward. So cells have the end walls with the perforations and two-way flow is there, right? Then types of vascular tissues are there. So xylem shows the xylem having the tracheids, vessels and the xylem parenchyma. Primary xylem shows the protoxylem and the metaxylem, and secondary xylem generally it shows the tracheids and the vessels with medullary rays in between them. Then in the types of vascular tissue, as the xylem is the principally a water transport tissue, it moves water and material dissolved in the water from the roots to the leaves. It is composed of trachary elements. Trachary elements they must die before they assume their ultimate function of transporting water and the dissolve the materials. This xylem is composed of two trachary elements as vessel elements and the tracheid element. So remember, the in the types of vascular tissue, the xylem shows these two elements. Here is again the good photograph for our study. So xylem tissue, as you are observing, after staining in practical, it turns the pink in color. So due to the sapronine. So larger cells are the tracheids and the smaller cells, thin-walled cells are the parenchyma cells are there. So xylem having the main function is there to transport the water and the minerals to the vessel elements and the tracheids, which are dead cells at maturity and have a primary and the secondary cell wall. Generally the pits present in the secondary wall which are thin and missing, allowing the water to flow laterally. The lower photograph it shows the vessel elements. So it is the showing the LS condition. So you see the how are the pits are there. Pits, that is the opening in between these two walls. So and tracheids are the longitudinal. So primary cell wall and the secondary cell wall. It is observing very detail in the nature. So this is about the xylem. Then in relation to types of vascular tissue, phloem plays also the important role. So phloem shows the sieve cells, sieve tubes, companion cells and the phloem parenchyma. then protoploem and the metaploem. But as we are in our general study, we are not discussing, but theoretically we have to see this one, and secondary phloem. So this phloem tissue, the phloem consists of the primarily as living cells, and characteristics of the phloem is the sieve tube members. The sieve tube members often transport the food. Here you are observing there are different enzyme breakups are there into sieve tubes, and therefore sieve tubes transport from one cell to the another cell. The phloem often has companion cells allied with this one. In transverse section, we are observing the phloem cells like this one. So it is actual photograph of the phloem. So cells are thin-walled, smaller in size, with in angiosperms the sieve tube elements contain the sugar solution. Sieve tubes they are generally surrounded by the supporting cells are there. So here the parenchyma cells and the transverse cell wall and the cells in growths, they are also observed here. The bundle sheath cell, bundle sheath, that is the xylem and phloem, is bounded by the one outward side a cellular layer is there, so it is called as a bundle sheath, vascular bundle sheath, right? Then in this vascular tissue development, there is the role of the particularly cambium is there. Here you are observing a ring of these vascular bundles. So middle one, the black entire ring is the vascular cambium. It is called as vascular, which is in the cambium, and the intervascular, that is in between the two vascular bundles. So this is the major difference. Then pink color is the xylem. Xylem is always inside the phloem or inside the cambium, and phloem is outer side the phloem. So primary xylem, primary phloem. In the young stem, this condition is generally seen. So you may remember this diagram for the primary structure. Then epidermis inside to this cortex is there. So this structure is the standard structure. It may change as per the some members are there, right? Then vascular bundles which showing the xylem and the phloem. So in the maize, generally vascular bundle is with bundle sheath, then vessel element, xylem elements are larger, and in the some there are the some plants like the alpha, so it shows the certain type of the vascular bundle. So in the next point we are observing the types of the vascular bundles. Okay, so this is our today's lecture. In the next lecture we will see the types of vascular bundles and their functions. Okay, so thanks to all, good day.